Welcome to Éxito in Minutes. I'm here with
Alex Espinoza,
my co-host, and I'm Troy Blanchard. Thanks for joining us today. We're super excited. Éxito in Minutes is all focused about how in minutes we can learn the best practices, valuable tips to help you achieve your full potential. We're inviting experts to come in, and they're going to share inspirational stories. Our main purpose is when you're concluding listening to these podcasts that you will be a better person and take some of those best practices, learn not just from us, but from our guests. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to Éxito in Minutes. We're so glad you joined us. I'm here with my co-host,
Alex Espinoza.
And I'm Troy Blanchard. Thank you for joining us again. Alex, what are we going to talk about today?
Today we have the most amazing, beautiful topic. As always, we're going to talk about acts speak louder than words.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, the first time I heard this core value, I was working at a fantastic company called Canon Safe. And, when I was there, they would always say, actions speak louder than words. And to be truthful with you, I just got hired. I was learning the core values of the company. I didn't really understand the core value as much as I should have. And I was living in Costa Rica at the time. And in Costa Rica, any of you that are out from Costa Rica listening right now, thanks for listening. Love that country. Costa Rica does have a challenge, like some other countries, of there's people like to steal things from your car. So if you leave things in your car, they're going to disappear. And so that happened to us several times. We go to the beach. We'd be like 20, 30 feet away from the car. And somebody would be able to slip in, steal everything, and leave, and we wouldn't even hear them. And it happened to us several times. It was just a common thing. And so I was working for this company, and I was so excited, and I just got hired. And I told the owner, I said, oh my gosh, your little small safe that you have through Gun Vault that can be hidden underneath a car seat, I'm going to be able to sell so many down here. And he said to me, he's like, Troy, actions speak louder than words. Tell me after you sold it, not before. And it kind of threw me off. And I mean, and you can see why I was excited. Let me show you my screen. Let me show you this picture. For those of you that are listening to us online, it's this little safe that we had. This is actually in Costa Rica. I was taking this shot. And it's this little safe that you can put your valuables in. And it's got a cable underneath your chair. And then when you're done, you just slip it underneath your chair, right? And then if somebody grabs it and tries to pull it, you can't because it's locked into a cable. And so you could see I was really excited. I'm like, I'm going to sell. I don't remember how many I said I was going to sell. And what was crazy is he knew how much work it would take. I was selling to PriceSmart down there. And it wasn't a week or a month. It was like 6 months later. I called him on the phone. I said, hey, Aaron, I sold 17 pallets to PriceSmart, or however many pallets. There's a lot of pallets I sold to PriceSmart. And I was proud to be able to say, look what I did. And so that was fun. But in this case, actions speak louder than words. It's the first time it really resonated with me. Think about it, Alex, in a context of work too, like, or anything. Where is actions speak louder than words kind of resonated with you in your life?
Okay. Something that I just learned, and is basically, it happened the same thing to me. It was the very first time when I worked for a company where they used core values, and I was like, okay, I should have known much better about them before I got into it. So when I started to live in this, it's like I had many people that I work with, and I understood this principle because many of us, like, we were trying to make our best things and our best efforts. And always, all of us were like, hey, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. But suddenly nothing happens. And it's like, what's going on? It's like, you said that you were going to do this or stuff like that, and never happened. So I understood that principle that people learn not by the things that you say, but they learn by the example you give. So instead of saying things, you have to show that you are capable to do those things. And my very first lesson, the most important one for me, is like, if I want to people make doing things, I need to set the example. So if I'm going to ask you to be the best salesperson in the room, everything, the morale to tell you about this. So that was a great lesson for me to learn.
There's this book called What You Do Is Who You Are, and it's by Ben Horowitz. And it reminds of exactly what you just said. He says in that book, culture is shaped by what leaders do, not what they say. So, I mean, think about that. You're right. In that situation where, you're telling people to be the best salesman, you got to be the best one. When I first got out of college, and I was actually a police officer for a short time, and I did that for a couple of years. And I remember I was transitioning into the business world, and I remember telling the owner of this company I was working for, hey, I want to be the vice president of this company. And he's like, well, you first have to be the number one salesman, and you're not the number one salesman. So Daphne and I poured all of our efforts into becoming the number one salesman, right? And so it goes back to what you're saying. We have to lead the part. Another important thing I learned from that company when I was working over at Canon is a lot of times they would not give somebody a title, but have them do the title until people followed them. So your production manager wasn't called a production manager. He might have been a senior supervisor. Nobody when the production manager left the company, nobody was named production manager, but he would just start acting the role and see if people would follow him and if he was that leader for him. So a lot of times in your companies, I'm thinking from a company context or a volunteer context. If you're volunteering for an organization, best thing you could do is there's times and a place that you have to articulate what you're going to accomplish. That's super important. But what weighs more in most situations is explaining what you've done instead of what you're going to do. Like for this week, we had a weekly adjustment meeting on Monday, and you have to tell each other what you're going to do. So it doesn't apply in all contexts, but it certainly applies in scenarios both in personal and professional scenarios where it's a lot better just to do what you say you're going to do before you do it. I'll give you an example. In a church scenario, right? It's like, hey, I'm going to put on a dance. I'm thinking about doing it next month, but I got to talk to a few people. Well, instead of telling a group that, don't say anything. Talk to those people. Hey, I've talked to 4 people. It's scheduled at 6 o'clock. It's going to be on this date and it's next month. Do you guys all approve? Do you see the difference? And
Yeah.
so it's quite a shift in the thinking. So I love this for any company. Actions speak more louder than words. What other quote? And I know you've got one too. What other quote I want to bring up is by John C. Maxwell. I'm sure many of you have read his books, but he says the more you're with people, the less your words weigh, and the more your actions weigh. I love that, right? I love that when you think of a person, you're thinking, oh, that person, they get stuff done. It's interesting when you hear about people talk about other people in the work environment and how they describe people's work, right? And I like that. Your actions outweigh what your words will ever say when you're working on a team. So what else you got brewing in your mind, Alex, on this subject?
I've been thinking as like as you were talking, I know that you love to read, to listen to podcasts, and to educate yourself by your own. And I love to do it myself. So right now I'm reading 2 books that are amazing: Extreme Ownership and The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. And something that I learned this morning about this is like, how do you change and how do you can you incorporate this principle into a team? It's all about being a team player. And when you start caring about the ones who are close to you, you are going to become someone most effective person. Instead of saying that you're going to take care of them, you're going to say like, okay, hey, Peter, do you need some help in this? How can I assist you? I'm here to help you. I'm here to make you successful because I know if you are successful, then I'll be, because we win as a team. It's a win-win. So as I've been thinking about performance and all that stuff, there's this quote by Benjamin Franklin when he said, well done is better than well said. And I really love this because, well, he worked as a team player, but he made a lot of things to happen. It's like he established the first public library in America. He organized the first volunteer fire department in Philadelphia, and he invented practical tools like beef bifocals and the Franklin stove and stuff like that. So it's like, it's not telling that I'm great at doing it, but it's like I can show you, and I also can incorporate my team to be part of it. So I really love that this concept of is like, I'm not gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna do it and show you my results. I think that's amazing.
Love it. So if you're out there listening right now and you're thinking of how this can apply in your life, think of how you want to be described. When somebody's talking about you on a team or maybe in the neighborhood or in a service volunteer scenario that you're in and a nonprofit organization you're working with, anytime that you start to hear somebody describe you, don't we all want them to say, oh, they talk a lot, but don't do a lot? No, no, of course not,
No.
right? We want people to be able to say, this person, when they talk, they get those things done. So when they say they're going to do something, they do it. Or a lot of times they don't say a lot, but they get a lot done, right?
Mhm.
Find out what the balance is. Like I said, you still have to tell people what you're going to do in a lot of situations, but be that person that people describe. I hope that we're that people, those, right? I hope that's who Alex, you and I are, that we are the type that when people talk about us, they talk about all the things that we get done and not all the things we say we're going to do and don't get done. So thanks for joining us. Any last thoughts before we sign off here?
No, thank you for being here with us every week. Well, we're trying to put all our best efforts, all our great experiences. We really hope that you enjoy this podcast. So thank you for being part of this.
And we'll, until next time,
See
ciao.
ya.